Hi guys, welcome to your Sunday Bible study. It's really pretty out today. I hope you guys are getting to enjoy it. Can't tell if it looks blurry through this or not. Is that better? Let's try that. This is out my living room window. That's the apartment next door. I just didn't want to give you the same view of the tree, top of the tree, as yesterday, so I thought I'd give you this view today. I could only give you so many views out the same window, so. Let's see here. Let's start off. Today we're going to be reading, continuing on with chapter 7 of 1 Corinthians, which will be verses 25 through 40. We'll be continuing on where Paul was talking about concerning married people, concerning widows, and concerning the unmarried. Well, we'll be getting into today talking about more concerning unmarried people. Paul stayed unmarried. He stayed a virgin, unmarried, dedicated to the Lord. And that's what he recommends everybody to do. But if you want to be married or you're already engaged, you shouldn't break it off with each other. And if you want to get married, by all means get married. There's nothing wrong with that. It is not a sin. And married people would just have it rough, more rough than unmarried people will, single people will, because married people have to think about themselves and each other, and they have to think about their kids if they have kids together, and single people just have to worry about themselves and, serving God. While married couples can serve God as well, each on their own and together, which is still a great thing, but they still have each other and their family to worry about. So their whole mind and everything is not all set on God. That's basically what Paul's going to tell you today. And our psalm is Psalm 32. It is a maskil of David. And we have 3 Proverbs today. Proverbs chapter 21, verses 5, 6, and 7. I did write some more questions down for you guys last night, which we still had several that I had wrote down that we haven't even went through yet, so we still got those too. So I will start off with 2 questions, and then we'll go read our 1 Corinthians. During Paul's missionary journey, roughly how long did he minister to the school of Tyrannus at Ephesus? How long did he minister at the school, Paul? 2 years, roughly 2 years. You may see, it seems like all she does is ask questions about Paul or whatever. The reason I got a lot of questions about Paul in here is because we've been talking a lot about Paul, and Paul is the one who wrote most of the books of the New Testament. Not all of them, but most of them. And we've been talking about Paul a lot lately, so I just wanted to refresh your guys' memories and make sure we're all paying attention and giving us some trivia about what we read and stuff. And I also like to be random and throw in some Old Testament questions here and there, and some questions from back in the beginning of the New Testament when Jesus was a baby. Now this one is concerning the end of the Bible. On what island was John when he was given the vision of Revelation? And after he was given that vision, then, he wrote the book of Revelation, the very last book of the Bible. What island was John on when he was given the vision of Revelation? Patmos. Patmos. Okay, so we'll stop there and we will read 1 Corinthians. I can't remember if I said, but like always, we'll be reading in the New International Version. Now about virgins, I have no command from the Lord, but I give a judgment as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy. Because of the present crisis, I think that it is good for a man to remain as he is, a virgin, unmarried. Are you pledged to a woman? Do not seek to be released, so if you're already engaged, don't seek to break it off. Are you free from such a commitment? You don't have a girlfriend, you're not engaged? Do not look for a wife then. So don't look for a wife if that's the case and you don't want to marry. But if you do marry, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. But those who marry will face many troubles in this life, and I want to spare you this. What I mean, brothers and sisters, is that the time is short. From now on, those who have wives should live as if they do not, those who mourn as if they did not, those who are happy as if they were not, those who buy something as if it were not theirs to keep, those who use the things of this world as if not engrossed in them, for this world in its present form is passing away. I would like you to be free from concern. An unmarried man is concerned about the Lord's affairs, how he can please the Lord, but a married man is concerned about the affairs of this world, how he can please his wife, and his interests are divided. He's not fully concerned about the Lord. He's got other worries on his mind. An unmarried woman or virgin is concerned about the Lord's affairs. Her aim is to be devoted to the Lord in both body and spirit. But a married woman is concerned about the affairs of this world, how she can please her husband. I am saying this for your own good, not to restrict you, but that you may live in a right way, in undivided devotion to the Lord. If anyone is worried that he might not be acting honorably toward the virgin he is engaged to, and if his passions are too strong, and he feels he ought to marry, he should do as he wants. He is not sinning. They should get married. But the man who has settled the matter in his own mind, who is under no compulsion, but has control over his own will, and who has made up his mind not to marry the virgin, this man also does the right thing. So then, who marries the virgin does right, but he who does not marry her does better. A woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives, but if her husband dies, she is free to marry anyone she wishes, but he must belong to the Lord. In my judgment, she is happier if she stays as she is, a widow. And I think that I too have the Spirit of God. Alright guys, and that's where we're stopping with 1 Corinthians today. And now let's ask a couple more questions and then we'll go to our psalm, which is a new psalm today. Let's see, where did I leave off? Okay. In the New Jerusalem, described in Revelation, the book written by John, what are the 12 gates made from? You probably heard about this when you were younger, or even, recently even. And if you've read the Bible, let's see, the blank gates. And it sounds so beautiful. The blank gates. When they talk about entering into heaven. In the New Jerusalem, described in Revelation, what are the 12 gates made from? Pearl. The pearly gates. They're made from pearl. the streets of gold. Why did Joseph take Mary and baby Jesus to Egypt? We're going back to the time when Jesus was first born. So this would have been right after Jesus was first born. Why did Joseph take Mary and baby Jesus to Egypt? And the answer is to escape from King Herod, which would have been at the time King Herod the Great. King Herod wanted to have Jesus killed. Remember, King Herod sent the wise men to go search for the baby because they were calling him the King of the Jews. The King of the Jews was going to be born. A new king was going to be born. And Herod was the king, and he didn't want no part of that. But he told the wise men to go find him, and when they found him, to let the king know where he was so he could go worship him too. But angel came to the wise men and told them not to return to the king because he wanted to seek to kill the baby. He wanted to seek to kill Jesus. So they didn't return, and Herod got mad, and he sent his troops to Bethlehem to kill all the babies that were Jesus' age, and some even a little older, because he wanted to make sure Jesus was dead. But an angel came to Joseph in a dream. An angel came to Joseph and told Joseph to take Mary and baby Jesus to Egypt because Herod was seeking to kill baby Jesus. So he did. And I'll go ahead and ask this question because it goes along right after that. Now, after they left Egypt, where did Jesus grow up? After returning from Egypt, where did he grow up? And in doing so, he was known as Jesus of blank, that town, Jesus of blank. That would have been Nazareth, Jesus of Nazareth, because that's where Jesus grew up. Okay, so let's read our psalm. Psalm 32 of David, a maskil. Blessed is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the one whose sin the Lord does not count against them, and in whose spirit is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away, through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy on me, my strength was sapped, and in the heat of summer. Then I acknowledged my sin to you and did not cover up my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the guilt of my sin. Therefore, let all the faithful pray to you while you may be found. Surely the rising of the mighty waters will not reach them. You are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble and surround me with songs of deliverance. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Do not be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by bit and bridle, or they will not come to you. Many are the woes of the wicked, but the Lord's unfailing love surrounds the one who trusts in him. Rejoice in the Lord and be glad, you righteous. Sing, all you who are upright in heart. Amen. And that was a maskil of David, Psalm 32. Like I said before, show me a psalm of David, whether it be sad or happy, that is not beautiful, because I surely have not found one myself. I don't think one exists. I've read them all more than once, and I love them all. Okay, so I'll get back into the questions. Here's one concerning the New Testament. Let's see if any of us know this. What language was most of the New Testament originally written in? The New Testament now, because the Old Testament's different. was written in a different language. So we're asking about the New Testament. What?
Arabic?
Nope. Wasn't Arabic. The New Testament was originally written mostly in Greek. Greek. The Old Testament in Hebrew, which would have been, same as Aramaic. I believe it's the same thing. I could be wrong, but I thought it was. Okay, let's see here. Okay. In which gospel? Now remember, the gospels are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. In which gospel did Jesus say, "Everything is possible for one who believes"? Which gospel did Jesus say that in? Do you know, Sherm? That would be the Gospel of Mark. Mark. Nobody would probably remember that anyway unless we had just read Mark. Because it's hard to go back and, just remember that from which gospel it came from. Let's see. I'm going to ask a few more questions before we read our Proverbs, and then I won't ask any more after these. So I'll ask 3 more. What was the name of the Christian who was stoned to death? Huh? Yes, he was so good, and when he was before the bad people who were trying him, they said he had the face of an angel. He was stoned to death. What was his name? His name was Stephen. Stephen. And I believe also he was the first Christian to be stoned to death as well. Okay? This goes back to the Old Testament. Not too far into the Old Testament. Which wood was used by Noah to build the ark? Gopher wood. Noah used gopher wood to build the ark. God told him to. Alright, and the last question for today is this. Who were the religious leaders who continually tried to trap Jesus with their questions? But they never could, because Jesus always responded right back and always shut them right up, and it made them mad. Do you know who the religious leaders were that always questioned Jesus, trying to trap him, Sherm? No, they ain't religious leaders. It was the Pharisees. The Pharisees. Okay, so that's where we're going to stop with our questions for today, everyone. So let's read our Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. Proverbs 21:6. A fortune made by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a deadly snare. And Proverbs 21:7. The violence of the wicked will drag them away, for they refuse to do what is right. Amen. That's so true. And that was our Proverbs for today, guys. That was our Bible reading, our Bible study. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Our prayer requests remain the same. Haven't heard anything new about Shirley. Haven't heard anything new about Barb. Ron Queen's mom, I did hear an update on her last night. She's having trouble breathing due to congestive heart failure. So they was admitting her to the hospital, so please keep her in your prayers. I haven't heard no new updates about her today. And of course, the Radabaugh family still needs prayers, where they lost a family member yesterday. So I believe that is everything. Everyone else that's been on our prayer list still needs prayer as well. So let's bring those souls to Jesus, and God willing, I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another Bible reading. And please remember to spread the word about Operation Christmas Child. And even if you can't make a shoebox, you could at least pray for them. Because, you know, prayer works miracles. And they may get 1,000 more shoeboxes this year than they did last. You never know. They always ask every day for you to pray for Operation Christmas Child, because it's all about Jesus. So prayer is a very important thing. So please remember Operation Christmas Child in your prayers. Bye, guys.